Greetings, everybody. It's Jim. Being a marketer, working with sales and Google Analytics and everything, I look at a lot of reports to see things that need to be changed and improved and whatnot. Now, when I'm looking at Columbia Games sale data, one day I was kind of curious about, the top 10 games that Columbia Games sells. Now, we all kind of know what the top three are, and that could be pretty obvious, and it doesn't matter too much what's number one or what's number three because you just promote those to the moon. It doesn't matter. But beyond that, it's actually quite interesting to know what other things are happening. And with this report I just did, I found out something by accident that is actually pretty cool. Today, I'm going to be giving you the top 10 Columbia games in sales for 2023. We have Pacific Victory, and I definitely like this game a lot, mainly because of two reasons. One, it does have the victory system, which is my favorite Columbia Games game. And two, it's because it's one of the most beautiful maps in the Columbia Games arsenal, in my opinion. It's very easy to look at. It's a Wargamers map. It's got enough detail, but not so much. It's really nice. You walk by it at any convention, see people playing it, and you're looking at it, and you're like, I want to play that game. It's just a beautiful map. At number 9 on the list is a War of 1812, and this was pretty cool to see because it's not one of the more typical genres in the wargaming world, so it's not like Napoleonics or World War II or anything like that. Plus, I've done a video on the War of 1812 because the game has something to do with Erie, Pennsylvania being on the map there from my little neck of the woods, and of course Oliver Hazard Perry being somewhat of a big deal. Not so much in the game, I still say I want that to change, but check out my video on the War of 1812 and decide if you want to grab that game. It's one of Columbia Games' earliest games, which is probably another factor why it's in the top 10. At number 8, we have one of the new items from Columbia Games, Combat Infantry Westfront. And it's pretty much Columbia Games' answer to Squad Leader, using just the Columbia block system. And it's been growing in popularity, and so it's no surprise that it's on the list here. It's got numerous army packs, it's got East Front as well as West Front. There are definitely a ton of scenarios out there. 6 that Tom Dalgleish made, but then we had a scenario contest, and we just got flooded with a lot of them, but then we kept just the best of the best, and they're really good. Okay, Grant Logie won the contest. He made like a plethora of really good scenarios, and they're all there. So not only would you get the main game, you get a lot of quality game scenarios out there, and a lot of them have solitaire rules. And of course, this was very popular during the pandemic. So for those of you who like Squad Leader but actually want something a little bit simpler, and with the fog of war aspect, mind you, this will be a game you want to take a look at. So at number 7 is Hammer of the Scots Deluxe Edition. Hammer of the Scots, of course, number 58 right now of the best war games of all time, according to the Board Game Geek staff and its fans. Okay, now some people might say, well, why is it only number 7 then? Well, that's because we just did a Kickstarter for the Deluxe Edition a few years ago, so definitely a lot of people bought it, but still the sales have been steady. That number 7 is actually quite good. Usually when you get a new game or something like that, you hit big and then it traipses off to kind of a trickle and stuff like that. Not for Hammer of the Scots. These actually indicate pure, cool, solid sales. And now entering the realm of no surprises is at number 6, Crusader Rex, a game by Jerry Taylor and Tom Dalgleish. It definitely covers the Crusades, and it adds the idea of sieges to the Columbia block system rules. And it's really a great example of how just a little tweak or just a few rules can add flavor to a battle, and just, a genre in general, whether it be World War II, Napoleonics, the Crusades. It's really nice to be able to see that happen, and this is a great example of it. And at number 5 is Richard III, War of the Roses. Many consider this game to be a sequel to Hammer of the Scots. Not a direct sequel as far as history or anything, but just as a gameplay sequel, because it focuses on the same ideas. Just a lot of areas, a lot of units going back and forth. You're moving units everywhere. Some can be loyal and disloyal. There's just a lot of things going on. And as you play it, as easy as the game is to learn, you have to really understand the map. to really have an advantage, and that only comes from experience. So definitely, if you liked Hammer of the Scots and you haven't gotten Richard III yet, or vice versa, this is definitely something you need to look at. So number 4 is quite interesting because it's not a surprise. It's Napoleon 4th edition. It's one of Columbia Games' best rated games. I mean, you look at any video review, not only do they say they love the game, it's one of their favorite games, okay, of anybody who's played it. So it's not a surprise that it's still being bought. But the thing is, we had Columbia Games did a Kickstarter like years ago, like almost a decade now. And, you know, you would think that everybody would have the game. This indicates that it's these video reviews and the fact that it's just new blood out there buying these games, because we darn well know from, and you know, how many people bought it from back then. It is still going strong now because of its reputation. So at number 3, I got to combine number 2 and number 3 here, because number 3 was a complete surprise, all right? Because I did not expect it to be on the list. I did not expect it to be in the category, but it showed up and it says volumes about something. See, the thing is, number 2 is Julius Caesar, especially because of the Kickstarter that came out. Those are all the orders that came in. Not a surprise, because Julius Caesar's one of the top another one of the top 100 war games of all time, according to Board Game Geek. Okay, the staff and the fans. So, what's the thing about number 3? It's for the late pledges only. All the late pledges, everybody that ordered it after the Kickstarter, all those sales superseded all the other sales for the year for Columbia games. It's insane. Now, why is that? It's probably, I have to speculate a little bit here, but I think it's because Rommel in the Desert finally got out and people started, you know, really seeing what the quality of the new versions of these enhanced editions of Columbia Games was going to be. And there was a little bit of a wait. And there were some problems with the map originally for Rommel in the Desert, which got fixed. But I mean, people were like, okay, we're going to wait and see this, you know, because, you know, they were just a little bit apprehensive, and rightfully so. But then when they seen Rommel in the Desert, they're like, this is the future of Columbia Games' stuff. Sign me up. And clickety, clickety, click. They went on Julius Caesar and made sure that they were going to get their Julius Caesar Enhanced Edition. So that's why it's at number 3. I can only imagine if Rommel in the Desert came out on time and without the map problems, what Julius Caesar initial sales of would have been. But definitely number 3 and number 2 is all about Julius Caesar. But man, does that say something about the quality of the game and how much it's hyped people up. And at number 1 for the best-selling war games in Columbia Games' arsenal for the year of 2023 is Rommel in the Desert. Much as I just said with Julius Caesar, once Rommel in the Desert got the hiccups out of the way and the map was fixed, everybody started talking about how beautiful it was. It was definitely worth the wait, and everybody just started buying it like clockwork. It was just, they bought Julius Caesar, they bought Rommel in the Desert. People are definitely happy with the quality they have received of this great game. And throughout all the hiccups that we had, and go figure, we had the pandemic, we had the mistake on the map during the pandemic where the shipping lanes were all kinds of screwed up and everything like that. It was hard to get anything in. People had to wait, but the patience of everybody and our fans paid off, and we thank all of you for that. And we are definitely going to go forward, keep on making quality games such as what you've been seeing. That is the top 10 list for 2023, and I'll see you next video.